Good evening. Welcome to the April 21st, 2020 business meeting of the Council of the Borough of Ringwood. Due to the state of emergency caused by the COVID-19 public health crisis, the following provisions have been made to conduct this meeting. Attendance at the meeting shall be limited to the Municipal Manager, Scott Heck, Municipal Clerk, Nicole Langenmayr, and myself, Mayor Linda Schaefer. Members of the Municipal Council and the Municipal Attorney, and also the CFO, Debbie Buchanan, will be attending this meeting via phone conference. The meeting shall be televised on Public Access Channel 77, recorded and rebroadcast on Channel 77 and on YouTube. Members of the public may participate in the public portions of this meeting as follows. Call in at 973-475-7100. Each call-in shall be for a maximum of 3 minutes. The public portion shall not exceed 30 minutes. Nicole, statement of compliance, please.
Give me 1 second. I have a problem with the recorder. Adequate notice of this business meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Law, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this business meeting by consent agenda resolution number 2020-09, adopted January 1st, 2020, through a legal notice published in the Suburban Trends issue of January 12th, 2020, and through notices emailed to the following named newspapers and posted on the bulletin board at the Borough Hall on January 6, 2020, the Suburban Trends and the Bergen Record. I need 1 minute, so it's not recording.
Okay,
Hold on 1 second. She's going to reboot the computer.
There's no, it's not taking the volume. It says sound levels have been found. There's no sound levels coming through. Okay, we're good.
Before I have a roll call, I once again want to thank everyone who has participated in working together for keeping us safe in Ringwood. Thanks to our police department, our fire departments, our ambulance corps, and emergency services for doing an extraordinary job under these most difficult circumstances. Thanks to all the borough employees who have been going in on a daily basis and doing their everyday jobs, and all the extras that this virus has thrown at us while keeping themselves and their families safe. To the DPW workers, thank you for putting yourselves out there. To every business in town, thank you for your cooperation under these difficult circumstances, which we are aware has affected your business in many ways. To the cashiers and delivery personnel that are working in our stores and restaurants, putting themselves out there every day, we cannot thank you enough for keeping Ringwood from coming to a standstill. Your patience and dedication has not gone unnoticed. Please, everyone, continue to stay strong and have patience, and hopefully soon our Ringwood community can once again come back together as the wonderful community that it is. Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Unmuted and present.
Council members Bolton?
Here.
Ferretti?
Here.
Matty Olandis?
Here.
McCracken?
Here.
O'Keefe?
Present.
Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Also present is myself, the Borough Manager, and the Municipal Clerk, Nicole Langenmayr, and Richard Clemack is on the call, as well as our CFO, Debbie Buchanan. Mayor, today we have, again, Caliano Bravo will salute the flag, so we're going to go to her video here while we all stand in a minute. Tracy, are you ready?
Yeah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, with justice for all. Flag of America, red, white, and blue. Flag of America, I salute, I give to
All right, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. We have no proclamations or presentations this evening. Approval of minutes.
First, we have the special meeting on March 10th, 2020. Councilmember Bolton was absent. Need a motion and a second, please?
I'll make a motion. John Spear. Second. Rob Ferretti, second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Abstain.
Ferretti?
Yes.
Matteo Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Next, we have the business meeting for March 24th. All were present.
So moved. Mr. Ferretti.
Jamie Landis, second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
Matteo Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Mayor, we're gonna need you to speak up a little bit, because that mic's a little far from you.
I know.
You can't pull it any closer, just talk a little louder if you could. Thank you.
Next is the general public portion. Anyone that wants to speak, please call in at 973-475-7100. And please keep your questions to a maximum of 3 minutes.
Mayor, there were a few, there was not a few folks, there was somebody who called, and so I said that we would have the public portion starting at 7:45. They don't have cable TV, so they weren't able, so we're gonna have to continue this right through
Okay.
7:45 if we could, so that we could accommodate that individual. And I think, Tracy, do you have it on, I'm not sure what just happened here. Is everybody still on?
Still on, Scott.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with this computer.
Okay.
Still on as well.
I'm here.
Okay,
I'm here.
Okay.
everybody's on?
Yeah, they're still on. We have to, we're just waiting. The phone's on to see if anybody's gonna call in for, but again, I told the resident that, I would turn the phones on regardless of what we were doing at 7:45, so we have to wait until that point. So if one of you could do a little soft shoe for a few minutes, that would be helpful.
I know it would be a little, or not a little, it would be out of order, but do we want to just work through resolutions while we wait?
We could if you want. I mean, Mayor, that's up to you.
Sure, we could do that.
If someone calls, I'll know, I think.
Right, you'll know. All right, old business?
Yeah, the first ordinance, first of all, we're not gonna do we're not gonna introduce the budget tonight. Debbie, are you still on? Is Debbie on?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay, we're not gonna adopt the budget tonight. We'd like to carry that to the next meeting. But we are gonna introduce some, as long as we have the other ordinances on the agenda, we might as well do that. So, Mr. Clemack, do you need a motion to read this by title?
Yes, a motion to read ordinance 2020-03 by title, please.
I'll make the motion.
Who is
I'll
that?
second.
Sorry. Councilman McCracken.
Okay.
Councilwoman Landis, second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
Matteo Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yep.
Okay, calendar year 2020, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limit and to establish a cap bank in accordance with NJSA 48:4-45.14. Mr. Manager, if you're going to give an explanation, it would be appropriate now, and then the matter could be open to the public for comment.
Yes, every year you're allowed to go to cap with your budget. We typically don't do that. We're under cap quite a bit. And what the government allows you to do, or the Department of Community Affairs allows you to do, is kind of bank that additional money that you didn't go to cap in case you need it for some type of extraordinary aid down the road. To my knowledge, and since I've been here, we have never applied to the cap bank, but it's something that's required for us to have, and every 2 years it goes away. So you'll carry it this year, and then you'll have to carry it next year, and then it will go away, and you'll start with the next year. So this is a fictitious bank, so to speak. It's what you would have been allowed to go to had you gone completely to cap. But again, we don't do that, and we've never applied to it, so we haven't used it. But it is a requirement for us to adopt our budget.
Okay, public comment is now in order, Madam Mayor.
Any comments?
Any comments?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, we need a roll call.
Well, a motion first.
I'll move it.
We have a second?
Ryan
John
Bolton,
Spear,
John
seconds,
Spear.
closing public.
Mayor Schaefer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matteo Landis,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe.
Yes.
Okay, I'll recite a resolution. Resolve that ordinance 2020-03 as read by title, being is hereby adopted, and the municipal clerk is directed to publish a copy of notice of passage of same in the official newspaper of the municipality. Be a motion, second, and roll call.
Matteo Landis, make the motion.
McCracken, I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matteo Landis,
Yes.
McCracken,
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe.
Yes.
Okay, the ordinance is passed. Now regarding ordinance 2020-04, a motion to read by title, please.
So moved, Matteo Landis.
Second, Rob Ferretti.
Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matteo Landis,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe.
Yes.
An ordinance of the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood of the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, limiting use of certain streets by commercial vehicles. Mr. Heck's comments and then public portion.
Yeah, as you all know, that we had to reintroduce this ordinance because the chairman for the Department of Transportation didn't like the word amended to our ordinance, even though we were amending an ordinance, we're not changing the whole thing. We felt it was just easier to reintroduce it. We introduced it. This is the second reading. If this passes this evening, we'll have a period of time for them to reapprove it, and then we can start enforcing the weight limit on McGee Road and Stonetown Road.
So can we have a motion?
Public first.
I'm sorry.
I have no public at this point, Mr. Clemack.
Okay. Then a motion can proceed to close.
John Spear, I'll move to close public portion.
Matteo Landis, I'll second that.
A motion?
Mayor Schaefer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matteo Landis,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe.
Yes.
Okay, resolve that ordinance 2020-04 as read by title, being is hereby adopted and the municipal clerk is directed to publish a copy of notice of passage of same in the official newspaper of the municipality. Motion and second.
We have a motion?
Second.
Who was that? Was that
Uh,
Ryan?
Ryan made the second. Who made the motion? I'm sorry, we can't hear you well.
Who made the motion?
I thought the mayor did.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
Roll
Mayor
call.
Schaefer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matty Landis,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe.
Yes.
Mayor, I'd like a motion to carry the public hearing on the municipal budget to the May 19th municipal council meeting. Is that appropriate, Nicole, to just carry it that way?
I believe so, yes.
Right. I'll make that motion to carry it. Can we have a second?
Second.
Who was that?
Ryan Bolton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Roll call?
Mayor Schaefer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matty Landis,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe.
Yes.
Mayor, I think I have the phone on, and if someone calls during the meeting, maybe we'll interrupt.
Okay.
Let's just keep the phone on this.
Okay.
I didn't do that the other day, and let's just see what happens.
And the public
That's
has to
okay.
give us a little leeway here. It's kind of hard to hear what's coming from the council remotely and vice versa.
I did have a question, Scott, regarding the cell tower for 30 Lane.
Well, I'll get to that in my manager's report,
Oh, okay, thank you.
all right?
All right, now, on new business, do we have any?
We have no new business,
No new
Mayor.
business. Okay, resolutions.
Okay, resolutions 2020-101 is the approval of the bill list. Whereas the Chief Financial Officer has certified the funds are available for the payment of the current bill list in the amount of $470,571.25. Supplemental payments in the amount of $9,386,842.61. And the merchant service fees in the amount of $149.65 to be credited to the following named accounts for a total of $9,857,563.51, of which Lakeland Regional High School is getting a payment of $1,098,050.30. And we sent a partial payment to the Ringwood Board of Education of a $1 million even. Can I have a motion?
We have a motion, please?
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Spear, I'll second.
Who was the motion?
Who made
Okay.
the motion?
We have to announce if we can, because it's hard for me to hear.
Hold on, and if you guys could mute your phones, because I'm hearing papers and whatnot, so it would be helpful. It's hard for us to hear with all those mics.
So who was the motion?
So the motion was, Mayor, who was the motion?
I moved
I
it.
didn't
Ms.
hear who
Ryan.
the motion.
Ryan Bolton?
And then
John
this,
Spear seconded.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matty Landis,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe. O'Keefe?
Yes, I muted my phone as Scott instructed me for that.
Thank you.
These Zoom meetings are not easy.
No.
Resolution 2020-102 is a resolution authorizing the Borough of Ringwood to increase the deferred school taxes for local and regional high schools. We pass this resolution every year because they're on a different calendar year than we are. So this is something that's required for us for our budget, which we're not approving tonight, but I'd like to get these out of the way.
I'll make that motion.
McCracken, I'll second it.
Roll call?
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matty Landis,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe.
Kathy, you got to unmute that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Resolution 2020-103, be it resolved that the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves a special council meeting to be held on Thursday, May 21st, 2020, at 7:30 PM at the Violet Bogart Municipal Annex, 60 Martin King Avenue, Ringwood, New Jersey, for the license renewal hearing for Saddle Mountain LP, which is the quarry. Be it further resolved that the license is hereby extended to that date, and be it further resolved the municipal clerk is hereby authorized to publish the notice of the same in the newspaper of the municipality.
McCracken, I'll make the motion.
We have a second.
Spear, I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
Matty-Olandis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-104, a resolution authorizing the execution of a shared service agreement with the Borough of Lincoln Park for the Register of Vital Statistics, where the Borough of Lincoln Park has agreed to provide Register of Vital Statistics services to the Borough of Ringwood by way of a shared service agreement. Now therefore be it resolved, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Ringwood, Passaic County, State of New Jersey, as follows. The Borough Manager and the Municipal Clerk are hereby authorized and directed to execute the attached services agreement with the Borough of Lincoln Park for vital statistics services for the term beginning May 1, 2020 through April 30th, 2022, on the terms and conditions as set forth in the agreement. A copy of the agreement shall be filed with the Municipal Clerk and shall be open for public inspection at the Borough Hall upon adoption of this resolution, and the agreement shall take effect upon lawful adoption of the requisite resolutions by both parties.
McCracken, I'll make the motion.
Peretti, I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
Matty-Olandis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-105, whereas a professional service contract was awarded to Schwanneweed Halls Engineering for Erskine Road, Lakeview Avenue Roadway and Drainage Improvement Project, Part 2, Borough Contract 2019-07 in the amount of $35,100, and whereas Schwanneweed Halls Engineering has submitted and the Borough Engineer has reviewed and recommends the payment in the amount of $13,562.50, invoice number 34335. Now therefore be it resolved, the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves the payment in that dollar amount to Schwanneweed Halls Engineering of Oakland, New Jersey.
Have a motion?
McCracken, I'll make the motion.
Peretti, I'll second it.
Roll call?
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
Matty-Olandis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Resolution 2020-106, whereas the Mandatory Source Separation and Recycling Act, PL 1987C-102, has established recycling fund from which a tonnage grant may be applied to municipalities in order to encourage local source separation and recycling programs. Whereas the intent and the spirit of the mandate Source Separation and the Recycling Act to use the tonnage grant to develop new municipal recycling programs and to continue to expand existing programs. And whereas the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection has promulgated recycling regulations to implement the mandatory source separation for the Recycling Act. And whereas the recycling regulations impose on the municipality certain requirements as a condition to apply for the tonnage grants, included but not limited to making and keeping accurate information verified records of material collected and claimed by the municipality. Whereas a resolution authorizing this municipality to apply for such a grant would memorialize the commitment of the municipality to the recycling and indicate an assessment to the Council of the Borough of Ringwood to its efforts undertaken by the municipality and the requirements contained within the Recycling Act and the recycling regulations. And whereas such resolution should be appropriate by individual authorization to ensure that the application is properly completed and in a timely fashion. Now therefore be it resolved, the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby endorses the submission of the recycling tonnage grant application to New Jersey DEP and designates myself, Scott Heck, as the Director, Department of Public Works, to designate an individual to authorize to ensure that the application is done in a timely and complete fashion and the payment to that individual be the same. So what this does is authorize me to submit a grant and authorizes me to have somebody submit that grant and pay them for that activity.
Have a
I
motion?
missed that. Could you read that one more time?
The whole thing? Yeah, I could. I'm not going to. I'm not sure why we didn't just say, I'm gonna submit the grant and And we're gonna hire somebody to do it. We don't have a grantsman here, we don't have a recycling coordinator here any longer, but, like we did a couple years ago, we're gonna have one of the other municipalities sign it, and we're gonna do a shared service for that. This is authorizing me to submit the grant, as we've always done. We've always done the legwork, and we had somebody else submit it when we didn't have a certified person. We're gonna do the same. By the way, they extended it, I think, to July 1st or 6th or something like that, so we have time, but I'd rather get the resolution done.
Have a motion?
Kraken, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
Matty Olandis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
They certainly could have made that resolution easier to read, but I don't think the government does that well. You notice mine have one sentence, so. The next resolution, 2020-107, I think Mr. Clemack doesn't know that we necessarily need this. This was a resolution to hire special litigation and management counsel for specific items. Some of the problems that we're experiencing is we're living in a different time now. Things come up on a daily basis. Sometimes, you know, I consult with Mr. Clemack often, and what I was looking to have with this resolution was the ability to hire somebody. So I thought what we would do is we would get RFP for special litigation to handle these either management matters or because, you know, we've all kinds of things that come up on a regular basis. Hopefully we'll get back to normal soon. Mr. Clemack, can you, maybe you can add in, but.
Just to give you some background, under the ordinance creating the Office of Borough Attorney, it is provided that the borough attorney, in his discretion, can retain other counsel where he or she deems it in the interest of the borough. For instance, if a case came up or an instance came up or required an expertise that I don't possess, I would, in that case, appoint other counsel, subject, of course, to the council, COUNCIL, your approval, because you would have to approve the contract. So it would be on what we call an ad hoc basis if something came up. Now, very seldom does something come up, fortunately. One instance where we've done it is in the affordable housing litigation. We have Mr. Dunn, who I'm working with, because he has a special expertise in Highland regulations and affordable housing issues. If the council wants to go forward with this, you have to remember this would just be what you would be doing, putting out a request for proposals. Generally speaking, what specific case might come up? If a specific case would come up, we would have to determine, does that attorney or attorney's firm have the expertise? The normal way we do it now is, in the few instances, I would survey the legal environment. I know many attorneys, I know their expertise, and I would bring that person in. Under this, you would be doing it just generally. A matter could come up where this person or firm just isn't qualified to handle that specific instance. My recommendation always is to do it ad hoc. However, if the council so decides to do it this way, to get an RFP and have somebody, have a firm or a person, or maybe that's certainly within your discretion, but that hasn't been the procedure in the past. But again, I would defer to your discretion.
And I was only doing it because when we spoke with the auditors and when we spoke with Debbie, I wanted the authority to be able to pay them. That's really what the mechanism is for. I guess Mr. Clemack can do it. He can hire who he needs. We just got to make sure that we can actually pay the bills. So I will defer to all of you as to how to proceed.
Mr. Heck? Well, how about we skip the RFP section then and just authorize the borough manager to hire a contract for special litigation and management counsel on an as needed basis, or with a specific term of 1 year of service. How do we want to get to that? But we can cut out the RFP section of it and actually get you, if you want that, if the authority is already sitting with the borough attorney to hire, alternate counsel as necessary, we can also extend that authority to you.
However, I just want to make sure that when the bills come due, the auditor doesn't ask, where's my authority? So that's really what this is about. I consult with Mr. Clemack over everything anyway, so
Yeah.
however you want to handle it is fine.
But we
the-
never did, excuse me, I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
No, Kathy, please, continue.
I just, from what I understood the attorney to say is that we've always done it ad hoc, and there was never a need in the past to do it in this manner, so what has changed? I know you say we live in a different world, but we've been living in a litigious society for many years now. I'm not sure what has changed to make this a necessary adjustment.
Actually, I don't know that anything has changed. We hire our environmental counsel through an RFP. We hire our labor counsel through an RFP. We hired our special counsel who did some investigative stuff through an RFP. I was just following through with that same suit, but Mr. Clemack says we don't need that. I certainly
Well,
would
what I'm
yield.
saying is, those persons we hired when the issue came up, and so if you want to follow this procedure, I think as Mr. Spears stated, it would be on that ad hoc basis. In other words, you just wouldn't appoint a firm generally, because you wouldn't know if they have the expertise if a particular case came up. But you would have the authority is on a specific case. Yes, I think Mr. Spears offered a pretty good suggestion to resolve the matter.
Yeah, we had a meeting for a month, and in these times, a month is a lot. And sometimes, maybe the health department needs to consult with somebody. I mean, I don't know what the case may be. I just want to be able to have the ability to react if, in fact, we need to. So I'm fine with Mr. Spears, or Councilman Spears' resolution as well. So however.
Can I have a
Sounds like
motion?
a pretty good idea in case something does come up in between meetings. We don't have to call a special meeting. We could already be prepared. So I think Mr. Spear made a pretty good suggestion.
I didn't hear.
So Mayor, what's your pleasure? Mayor,
I'd like a motion.
you'd like, okay, John, I think, did you make that in the form of a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to give the borough manager authority to contract for special litigation and management counsel on an as-needed basis.
Correct, I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matteo Landis,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe,
Abstain. I'm not sure that this is giving permission to spend money without our approval on costs for an attorney, and I'm a little cautious about spending any additional money this year, given our present circumstances.
Just so you all, I'm sorry, go ahead with the roll call.
Roll call, please.
Yeah, just so you know, that there is a legal budget already, so contained within the budget is the authority to utilize the funding anyway, but I understand. So Mayor, we still don't have any calls, so I've kept the phone going just in case somebody did want to call. So you want to carry on with the,
Yeah, we'll just carry on. We'll go to consent agenda resolution.
okay, consent agenda resolutions, 2020-108, whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Ringwood has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, and whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Ringwood is not desirous of removing any resolutions for individual action from the agenda, now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. 2020-108 is the approval of the consent agenda. 2020-109, approval of the payroll and payroll transfers for March. 2020-110, approval of voided check. 2020-111, refund overpayment of 2020 property taxes, block 723, lot 23, and refund of park and ride, which is 2020-112 for $31.25.
Can I have a motion?
Matteo Landis, so moved.
Ferretti, second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matteo Landis,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
O'Keefe.
Yes.
Consent agenda resolution 2020-109, whereas the chief financial officer has certified that funds are available for the payment of the payroll and payroll transfers. Now therefore be it resolved, the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves the following payroll, oh, I'm sorry, we already did that in the consent agenda.
Yeah,
All right.
Linda, you're not keeping me, you're
I'm
not
sorry.
keeping me on the straight and narrow here.
these resolutions.
She may have been muted.
Yeah, yeah, she can't hear you guys well because we're social distancing and she's across the dais
I
here.
have a slight hearing problem.
So we're up to manager's report. Mayor, would you like me to start?
Yes, what about these resolutions?
I'm gonna go through some of these resolutions as I
Okay.
go through my report.
Okay.
We may not do all of them, but I did want to try and prepare resolutions because we're not all in the same room and it's not always so easy. So we tried to at least get them to you, the things that I was going to talk about this evening in the event we decide to move forward.
Okay.
So, first and foremost, I'd like to start by saying how truly humbled I am by the dedication of our ambulance corps, the first responders, the healthcare workers, and all of our essential personnel. It's incredible what they do for us every day, and I don't know that you understand until you've watched them in action, until you've heard the calls, until you've seen what they go through, and I have to tell you, I'm just in awe of all of them, and I want to take a moment just to thank them before I went into my manager's report. I know, Mayor, you did earlier.
Yes.
But I see it every day, so. In terms of the coronavirus update, as of today, we have 82 cases, 6 people are hospitalized, and unfortunately, we have 2 deaths. I am very happy to report that we have 35 people that have recovered. The ages of the folks that have been affected range from 21 to 92, so there really is no specific age. It's really affecting all ages. You know, the Ringwood residents have always done their part, and I want to thank those that are doing their part to stop the spread of this virus. We are starting to see some signs of improvement, but I got to remind everybody that we got to remain vigilant because as in the near future, when the restrictions start to be lessened and we start to slowly lift these things up, we still got to pay attention to what's out there, and we don't want to reinfect anybody. We want to be really careful. So it's important that everybody wears masks and continues to wash their hands so that we can continue to prevent this spread of this virus. Also, when they do start to loosen up some of the restrictions, you still should practice social distance whenever possible. I will tell you that our health department is doing an amazing job, and they continue to do a few things that I just want to mention to everybody so that people know what they're doing. They monitor all of our employees with signs and symptoms and give guidance for isolation and clearance for coming back to work. We don't let somebody come back that had any kind of symptoms, and our nurse takes care of all that. They instruct the COVID positive residents on self-isolation and quarantine protocols for those who are exposed, and they follow up and they continue to follow up to check on these folks, and they do that on a regular basis.
Scott, could I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Kathy O'Keefe, are we doing contact tracing?
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna go through that here Yep. I'm gonna go through that. We're ordering some essential supplies so that when a vaccine becomes available, we'll be prepared to administer the first responders and the vulnerable residents first. We're creating a point of distribution plan for the entire community so that if in fact we have to vaccinate, we're going to have the ability to do it. The health department is still collecting donations for Chilton Hospital as well as here, cleaning supplies, PPE, provisions for care packages to be sent home with healthcare workers that help to boost morale, and they're enforcing the governor's executive orders specifically regarding our businesses in town. They are continuing to do all of the contact tracing. They trace all the individuals back to any contacts that they may have had, and you'd be surprised when you start to think about where you've been. If you're not really seeing any symptoms and you test positive, you'll be surprised at how many people you actually go see. So they're doing a great job doing that. We have to keep in mind that we have to constantly be on guard. We have to assume everybody that we come in contact could very well still have the virus, and we really have to act accordingly. Borough Hall is not open to the public, but it is staffed to assist residents. And most of the residents have accepted if they do have to come here for an appointment, they have to make those appointments. We have somebody meet them at the door. If you come here for a marriage license or something, we make sure they have masks and gloves, and I'm doing everything I can to protect our employees. because we need to keep these vital services going, and we're also protecting the residents that come in here. We are cleaning the building on a regular basis, light switches, doors, handles, all the hard surfaces. We also had it deep cleaned, so we're working hard at that. All of our borough facilities, including our parks and playgrounds, continue to remain to be closed. There's no assembling or playing of any type of sports at borough recreational facilities, and the police department are moving people along when they actually see that. Signs have been posted in our facilities, and we ask you just not to gather there. If you're a resident or a senior who is in need of assistance for essential necessities like food or fire safety items, we have people that are willing to assist you. This is not for medical assistance. Medical assistance is 911. But if you want to help us, or if you need help, you can contact us at assistance@ringwoodnj.net, or you can call a phone number at 973-475-7103. We have a lot of information on Ringwood's efforts with COVID-19 on www.ringwoodnj.net, and you can get all of our updated information there. The Center for Food Action is open, so if you need assistance, their website is www.cfanj.org, and their address is for Ringwood site is 45 Carltondale Road. You have to make an appointment because they're not letting people in. So if you're going to go to the site to get some food, please call them at 201-529-2029, and they'll assist you. You know, I'm happy to see the community's really cooperating with us and cooperating with the health department. And our health department's also going to see businesses that are open to ensure that they're complying with the with the governor's orders. So they're really acting responsibly, and they're just doing an awesome job. Some other business that that I have to go through this evening. We had an auction while all this was going on, because we had already advertised it. So we had a public auction where we auctioned off 14 items, and we received a total of $19,070.96 for a couple of cars and some junk stuff. Even the chairs in Borough Hall here, when we bought new chairs, we auctioned off the old ones. Ironically, they're going overseas to somebody who does weddings, but it's amazing the stories you hear from the people that buy these items. I committed to the council that anytime that there was a cell tower application, that I would keep them in the loop. We talked about this last fall when this first happened. AT&T at 30 High Point Lane has a tower there at El Poa Hilltop facility, and they had applied originally, and I'm going to read you what the building inspector and what the attorneys have sent. Section 6409 of the Middle Class Tax Relief and Job Creation Act of 2012, passed by the Obama administration, provides an exemption from local land use approvals when expanding an existing cell tower that meets certain criteria. As applicable here, land use approval was not needed for an increase in the height to the existing tower of less than 10% or 20 feet, whichever is greater. AT&T had previously filed an application, and that's what I spoke about a minute ago, for additional equipment and for 2 new carriers. The borough denied that application because the proposed extension exceeded the 20 feet and included more than 4 equipment cabinets and would have expanded the existing compound area. So we denied that application. As a result of that denial, AT&T has submitted the current application, which reduced the number of carriers to 1 and modified the design to fall within the federal exemption from local zoning passed by the Obama administration in 2012. So what that means is they applied, we denied them. They then decided they were going to scale their plan back to fit within the regulations that was passed, that we have, and we have no local zoning say over that criteria. And so based on that, they're going to be moving forward with the expansion of that tower as outlined in the maps. Now, Mr. Clemack, you could probably speak more about this. I know we've had a lot of conference calls and
yes, that was yes, as Mr. Heck said, this was the zoning officer's decision. However, he did consult with the Board of Adjustment attorney and me, and we did research. Again, to reiterate something of what Scott said, originally the plan called for a height of more than 20 feet. and extended the ground area. It was our position that this would require a variance, and the application was denied. Okay? However, as Scott said, the applicant came in and decided to stay within the existing boundaries, therefore they would not need a variance on the ground, and reduce the height of the proposed tower within the 20 feet. Now, this is a question of federal law. As you know, federal law is the supreme law of the land. It supersedes any state, county, or local law. Under federal law, it is made clear that a telecom carrier can extend its tower, its antenna rather, up to 20 feet without permission of any municipality, without any permission. It's an absolute right. Whether or not I agree with the reason was the FCC, who propounded the federal regulation, the reason behind it was that they wanted to expedite telecom communication. And of course, it's a very broad stroke across the whole country, but it has different effects on different municipalities and parts of municipalities. In our case, it's the height extension of a tower that many people are dissatisfied with to begin with. However, it is federal law, and to oppose it would have been frivolous. It would have just been expensive. AT&T would have gone into court immediately. We would have no defense, and they would probably not only they would not only get what they want, they would probably get an award of counsel fees against us. But it wasn't the punitive aspect that all of us are looking at. We're looking at the law. What does the law say? That is a federal law. Whether we're happy with it or not, we have to abide by it. And the zoning officer accordingly made his decision.
I have a quick question on that for our council. This is Kathy O'Keefe. I see that we rejected the 20-foot extension, and kudos to you for doing so. Now they're proposing a 10-foot extension. What's to stop them from coming back next year with another 10-foot extension? Or is the 20-foot going to stay at the original height of the structure and not go higher? So what I'm saying is, if they come up with 10 additional feet this year, now it's up to 76. Can they come back next year for another 10 feet?
No, the way we interpreted the statute, we would deny it. Our interpretation is you get one extension, one maximum extension. That is our position. Now there may be, if you read the federal regulations, which run hundreds of pages, someone could read it that they could make multiple applications. We think that's against common sense. Otherwise, they could go 500 feet eventually.
Right, that's what my concern is.
Which would be absurd. So we let everyone know that is our absolute interpretation. Okay?
And I see they're adding another carrier, which means they're going to be boosting their profit. Is there a way for us to look at this as a commercial entity to re-examine our tax status on this property?
Well, again, that's the assessor has a formula for taxing these properties. It's a complex formula, and I have to consult with him. He would certainly look at it again because there'll be a building permit and construction done on it, so he'll take another look at it. The only tower in town that we obtain funds based upon income is the tower on Canisi Drive, because that is a tower on Borough property which we lease to the ambulance squad under a lease, and we derive income from the ambulance squad.
Right, but we assessed that tower when it was built, but the way it was assessed was under residential guidelines from what I recall. And at the last meeting, both Councilwoman Landis and myself had requested that the assessor explain to us the criteria for the quarry and how they're under-assessed for us. I think they're paying $40,000 per year. So it would be good to understand if he could give us an explanation how these properties are assessed and what they're assessed for, just so we have a better understanding of it. Would that be something we'd have to pass a resolution to get, or would that just be a request?
I can tell you that, go ahead, Mr. Clemack, do you want to answer? The tax assessor is in a unique position, and the mayor and council really should not be involved in any type of discussion relative to assessments. Now, I have had some discussions with them with him about some of my concerns and some of those questions. But much like the building inspector, there is a stopgap there, and I don't think the council is appropriate for them to be contacting or getting information for them about specific assessments. Mr. Clemack, would you agree with that assessment?
Yes. As far as any assessments regarding any property owner,
Right.
a public discussion of the assessment, and this is not meant to be critical or anything. A public discussion of anybody's assessment runs counter to the division of responsibility envisaged by the statutes. While we do appoint the assessor, he is a state officer, and he abides by state regulations. But I can't tell you this.
Yeah.
The assessor is constantly looking at properties to make sure the assessment is correct, because times change, circumstances change.
Right.
To do it in what they call a non-discriminatory fashion. In other words, there has to be logical, non-discriminatory reasons for the assessor to look at a property. Otherwise, there could be a charge of what they call a spot assessment, which certainly is unfair to anybody. Okay.
I would agree.
So
there has to be a formula for assessing property taxes, right?
there are several.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
I said, isn't there a formula that our assessor would follow for any property? That's all I'm asking.
There's
you.
se-
And I'm standing.
I will tell you, yes, but I'll tell you, quarries are not because quarries are what they call a diminishing asset. So you look at value, because theoretically their values change as the asset is exhausted. Okay, and there are special formulas, special rules for evaluating and assessing a quarry, as opposed to, say, another business property. They are a unique. They're a unique property. There's not that many in the entire state, so they get a special. There's a special way to look at them.
I think that this conversation really is better held off of the council
Offline.
meetings, and I am working with the assessor, and there are many ways by which you can assess property, and several different. It depends upon the circumstances. I have had these conversations at the request of the council, and I will continue to have these conversations, but I would prefer that we don't do that at this point.
And I think we should get back on task with the cell tower that we were.
Well, I was done with the cell tower, and the other thing that the cell tower.
You're right. To get back to the quarry, the assessor only will take another look at a property only if it's done in a non-discriminatory fashion, and events require it. In other words, and this is common sense. He just doesn't go to a certain book and page and say, "I just think I'll look at this property." He has to do it because everyone is entitled to be free of discrimination in tax assessment. So he's under very strict standards regarding everybody's property. Your property, my property, anybody's property. Yeah.
So-
Well, he should be.
So I'm going to continue with my manager's report. Keep in mind that also if they were to expand the cell tower, as outlined in their original proposal, they would need to expand the footprint of the ground lease and the ground area, which was part of the problem. That's one of the reasons we turned it down. So if in fact they were to expand and put other uses on there, unless they could figure out how to co-locate in cabinets, that would probably be a trigger for us to say no as well. So we're monitoring all those things, but as I committed to this council several times last year, when something like that happened, I would keep you in the loop. I also sent the same correspondence to the adjacent property owner who had asked some questions, so that they had it in case they couldn't participate in this meeting. So they have the same information. Relative to some insurance, I have a little troubling news. Zurich of North America has sold some of their insurance lines, including environmental in certain time periods, which includes the Ringwood claim for Upper Ringwood, to a company called OnStar Group. The transition will be completed by the middle of May, and by July, Zurich will no longer be involved in the Ringwood claim. Ordinarily, that doesn't really affect people. I mean, insurance companies buy and sell lines all the time. The problem is this is a long-term claim that has a lot of history and a lot of information. So while we have not always agreed with our insurance carriers, Zurich has worked with me for 12 years, and we usually worked out whatever differences we had, and It's my hope that OnStar will retain the same legal counsel or certainly provide some type of transition team. It'll be difficult to get a new claims person up to speed on such a large claim. I mean, I'm going to do that. It just adds to our workload here because, you know, as you can imagine, we're doing our regular work, plus we're doing COVID-19, plus we're doing FEMA stuff, we're doing all kinds of things, contact tracing, and now we're going to have to re-educate one of our larger insurance companies that's covering the one of the larger claims that we have in the borough. So I wanted to advise you of that. There's nothing that you can do. I will do what I can to keep that streamline going of communication and get them to understand the claim as best I can. And I sense a lot of meetings in the future. Radio communication. There are various parts of the borough where we're having difficulty communicating with our radio system due to the rain. It could be the iron ore in the rock. It could be several different reasons. Some of it is in Stonetown, some of it is in Cupsaw. So we're working on a plan to increase our radio coverage for police and emergency responders. There's also portions of the municipality that are having difficulty with cell service. I only know this now because everybody's home, going on Zoom and doing their things with their children, trying to educate them, and the folks at home are becoming frustrated when they have marginal or spotty service. So this is becoming a little bit of an issue in that regard, and I just thought I'd bring it up here. But the radio transmission for our police is my prime goal. That we have to do something about. We also have to increase our communication inside of our schools. So we're going to work on some of these things. So that's on the horizon. We talked about it a little bit in the budget process. Next, we have the primary has been extended, so I'm going to pass this off to Nicole for her to give us a little bit of an update on the primary.
Yeah, so the governor signed into an executive order 120, changing the date of the primary election. He changed the date from June 2nd to Tuesday, July 7th. With that change of date, it also changed a few other important dates for the election. The deadline to submit party affiliation declaration forms to change your party affiliation is now moved to May 13th. The voter registration deadline, which is always 21 days before the election, will be moved to June 16th. And then the deadline to apply for the vote by mail ballot is due in the mail by June 30th. You can still go to the Passaic County Clerk's office up until July 6th, but if you want it to be in the mail, it's got to be in the mail by June 30th. That's all, Scott. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Did you have any other announcements, or is that all you had tonight?
Just the only other thing for the clerk's office for the dates that's been moved is the financial disclosure forms. If you're due to fill one out, that has been changed for the due date to went from April 30th to July 31st.
Okay.
Nicole, how about vote by mail? If people are concerned about going to the polls even in July, how would they go about being able to vote by mail?
So they have to send in the vote by mail ballot is due by June 30th.
Okay, so would they request from you vote by mail ballot?
The application is on the Passaic County Clerk's website, or they can call my office and we can walk them through it. That's fine too.
That process is going to be exactly the same. It's just going to be a different date. And we're going to be sending out, putting out notices on our sign and our website, and we'll use social media. So we'll get that information, the deadline's out. But the process will be the same, it's just moved. Is that correct, Nicole?
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. I'm working on improving our Zoom meetings. We're talking about having some Zoom planning board meetings where we're going to have some exhibits and things. We need to conduct the business of the town and keep the town going. So we're going to have some increased meetings. Your next meetings will probably have linked documents and whatnot. So we're working on that now. So you're going to see that come very shortly. I want to talk a little bit about interest and penalty extensions on taxes. It sounds good, right? Let's waive the interest and the penalties. And we've looked at many programs, and we've talked about this on calls with the county, with the state. I've talked about it with the finance committee. And while this sounds like a great thing to do, this really affects very few people and creates a tremendous cash flow problem for the municipality. Keep in mind, approximately 60% of the homes in Ringwood pay their taxes through banks and financial institutions. We also have state properties, we have reservoir properties, we have lake associations, we have a lot of those things. So so there's a lot of properties that would be paid directly through mortgages. As an example, As an example, $13,920,562.17 is billed in the second quarter for taxes. So $13 million, almost $14 million. If the banks were to take advantage of the savings of interest and penalties and hold the money for an additional length of time, the borough, in order not to default on payments, would have to borrow the money utilizing tax anticipation notes to make our required payments, and those interest on the loans would be paid by the residents. If we didn't have that revenue for additional 4 to 6 weeks, we wouldn't have the money to pay the schools, the county, and keep the operation going. Keep in mind that the taxes that are paid each year, the municipality only uses 21.49%. So the rest of it is simply a pass-through to the schools and the counties, and they're not going to participate in that loan program. They're just going to receive the money, and we're the collector of the taxes, so they really shouldn't. They shouldn't participate in that. So what I'm saying to you, though, is keep in mind that this could really put a severe hardship on the cash flow for the borough if we were to extend the time of payments, if the banks and the mortgage companies took advantage of extending the time with no penalties. And why wouldn't they? They keep the money and they keep their cash liquid for another 4 to 6 weeks or whatever you folks decide. It could potentially be putting us into a serious cash flow problem. I was on a conference call with many members of the municipalities and other county and state officials, and they're recommending that we hold off as they are working on guidelines so that there's some consistency and uniformity to what happens statewide.
Right, that's
so-
what I thought the state was looking at.
Yeah, they're looking at it right now. So we're working on that. So the reason I bring it up is because I know some of you have contacted me. Ironically, we haven't had many residents call us about it, but probably because most residents have their taxes paid through their mortgages. So they know they're not going to get any direct benefit anyway.
Right.
One of the options that I talked to the finance committee about is, look, instead of waiving the interest and the penalties, we can create a hardship case, that if somebody has a hardship, we can create a fund by which we can refund, or we could maybe credit the taxes and penalty through a different source. If somebody
Right,
really
it'll
truly,
be-
if someone truly had a hardship, this would avoid the banks and the lending institutions and all of that from taking advantage and getting the benefit. But that's something we should talk about, and I'd like to wait until after the state comes up with it, whatever kind of ruling they have, and even if they come out with one tomorrow, I'm going to be honest, they're trying hard. There's a lot of bumps. There's a lot of things that they have to go through, and it will be clear as murky water if in fact they come up with one. So it's going to take a couple of months because there's a lot that they have to think about. There's a lot of things that they have to put in motion. So it's not a criticism, it's just a fact. We've noticed it even with some of the executive orders that we've gotten, because there's everything affects something else. So again, it's not a criticism, it's just reality.
And a person would have to show proof of that hardship.
Yeah, we can work that out if in fact that's how we go. My guess is when you put the political discussion aside, it sounds good, but it really doesn't help many people. It really doesn't help many people. If you really want to help people, I think there's other ways you can do it to help. Actually, ironically, the next topic that I have is what I've gotten more calls about, the homestead rebate. I just want to remind everybody, or make everybody aware, that the state has frozen the 2017 homestead rebate, and they're utilizing it for emergency obligations. And in case you guys think I misspoke, I didn't. It is the 2017 homestead rebate. So don't expect to be getting that. That money is going to be going into emergency appropriations. The folks are well aware of that, and they seem to be calling about that on a regular basis. All of the discussions of finances and things that I've been talking about tonight, and we talked about at the last meeting, just bring to the forefront in my mind that we've developed a good budget, but I'm very concerned about revenue with all that's going on. Not only for the municipality, but we got to continue to remember that we have our schools that need funding, and we need the funding so that we can operate effectively, not only efficiently but effectively. We all know that the school funding has been significantly cut by the state, and it will be continued to cut for several years to come, and that's a problem for all of us. I have to say that redevelopment now more than ever of our shopping centers in the southern part of our town is extremely important to the vitality of our town. I've been talking about this for quite a few years, and I told you guys I was going to continue to remind you. And I know we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, but that shouldn't mean that we don't continue to plan our future, our recovery, and manage our town. We still have to operate the business of the borough, and we're going to continue to do that. So let me be really direct. Our taxpayers need relief, our businesses need growth, our schools and our municipalities need funding, and our residents deserve to have a community that's vibrant. And I think we can all make that change, and I just want to continue to bring that to the forefront, and I'm going to continue to remind you because I'm worried that we paid off a lot of debt so that we had a window of a couple of years so that we can get something going, so that we can replace some of that funding and we can get some property tax relief. Now, Mr. Clemack, I know you're on the phone and you're going to say, well, we got this COA litigation going on. And yes, we do have pending litigation on this, and every town in the state of New Jersey had it. But I'm encouraging all of our professionals to find a way to settle the cases or litigate them. Let's not stay in limbo. Let's stop negotiating them, either settle them or litigate them, so that we can create a path forward to help our residents and provide a vibrant community and also some relief.
My thought was that Holly Shapiro and Bramnick were both trying to put a stay on this type of litigation at this time.
They've been doing that for a while and haven't been successful, and in the meantime, two things have to happen. We need to redevelop our shopping centers because they deserve it. We need to look at some of the other opportunities, and this is just my opinion, but I just think that that's how we have to move forward.
And my concern is that this redevelopment of the shopping centers would be beholden upon the property owners, not on the Borough Council, and that any cost associated with it should be borne by the property owners, and that we shouldn't be spending any tax dollars on profiting these downtown developments.
Well, we can talk about the merits of whether we're doing it or not doing, but you can provide opportunity without provide funding. So I think we could talk about that. We could talk about this as we go forward, but my mind is a reminder to everybody that, you know what, we can't just talk about it. We got to move it forward in some capacity. So anyway, I know there's a better time to talk about it, but I'm going to just keep reminding you folks because you have the power to do something about that. I don't, and I know that you can create guidelines that will help the property owners and give them the incentive to move forward without affecting our taxes. I want to talk a little bit about the Church of the Good Shepherd. As you all know, we did some testing of their well over there. Their well, many people didn't know, I didn't know, that they had a shallow well on that property when we did the testing of the other wells. So while the water quality of the church is not really the responsibility of the borough, we had the well tested the same way that I did for Hewitt School and the state parks. I wanted to make sure that our school wasn't affected by the Superfund site. So when I found out about this well at the church next door, that wasn't on any state records, I talked to the council and we moved forward on testing it. I want to be very clear that the report states that the water quality problem has nothing to do with the Superfund site. It comes down to the church having a very shallow well, the water having a low pH, which is corrosive to the piping, and the solder creates an unhealthy water. So as the pH lowers, we monitor our pH every 2 minutes in all of our water systems so that an alarm goes off if in fact it goes below or above a certain pH, because we know that pH in water is corrosive to the piping and the solder joints, which is what's going on at the church. I believe there's a way we can assist the church to ensure that they have a drinking water supply that is regulated by the state Water Drinking Act, and we'll resolve the issues so that when we can, so that they can have their building and they can use their water and they can use their whole facility. I sent you out some proposals for you to review. My proposal to the council this evening is as follows. I propose that the borough waives the hookup fees for the church, provides the equipment that we own from Borough Hall, from the DPW, and the materials, and provides the insurance coverage for the project in order to connect the church to the municipal water system. I took the opportunity to speak to the DPW and the water department employees, and they all want to help the church. So all of us, myself, the DPW, and the water folks, will donate our time after hours to connect the church to our water system using your equipment and the materials from the borough. Our building inspector said he'd come in on a weekend to inspect on his own time as well. And this will ensure the church and the church water supply is tested on a regular basis, and when appropriate, they can resume the full use of their building. Right now, they're on a modified use, but with what's going on, nobody's at the church. And the only thing that I would require the church to do is to abandon their existing well, so they would have to have a certified well company come in and certify it. We will disconnect it so that there's no cross-contamination with our water system. We'll do that as our volunteer team. So that's something that I want to throw out to the council as a proposal. We have helped the other churches. When the Presbyterian Church needed some assistance, we helped them. We've helped the Catholic Church. So I think that there's a precedent for this, and I think it's a good solution to ensure that this church remains open and with healthy and good, safe drinking water.
What resolution would this?
Maybe helping the residents as well, which is what we're here for.
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear that, Mike.
I think what it comes down to is that we're gonna be helping residents as well, which is what we're here for. I think it's a great idea. I think we should talk about it, discuss it, and then move ahead with it.
Okay.
I completely agree, and thank you for the entire team donating their time. It's a wonderful gesture and greatly appreciated, I'm sure, by both the parish as well as the residents outside of the town to help their neighbors out.
And it's a little bit of community building,
Right.
which is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with everything Mike just said. Absolutely, and Ryan as well.
So
Yeah,
if
I was at the meeting where we saw that the contamination levels on the lead were very high in that building, and I'm sorry it wasn't done sooner, but I commend all of our DPW workers and water employees for donating their time to make this right for them. So I'm totally on board.
Well, Mayor, with that, would you like me to read a resolution?
Yes, please.
Resolution Nicole, what number would this be?
113.
This is 2020-113. Whereas churches and other religious organizations play a vital role in our community, and whereas these churches provide a location for our members to meet and worship, and whereas the priest in charge of the Church of the Good Shepherd has asked for assistance from the borough with regard to the connection of the church to the borough water supply, and whereas the borough would like to assist the church in the connection to the water system, whereas the manager, the DPW, and the water department have offered to donate their time after hours to connect the church to our water system, and our construction official has offered to donate his time to inspect the after hours as well. Therefore, be it resolved that the borough will waive the hookup fees, provide the equipment, materials, and provide the insurance coverage for the project. Be it further resolved that the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood authorizes the borough manager to coordinate the connection of the church to the borough water system, utilizing donated time, and extends its appreciation to the employees' generosity to the church. Be resolved that the Church of the Good Shepherd will be responsible for the abandonment of the existing well.
I have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'd like to second Mario Landis.
Roll call,
Mayor
please.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
Mario Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Okay, in that same regard is a resolution, that was number 113, this will be 114. I'm going to submit this invoice to the carriers and to Ford to see if I can get them to pay it as well. And the report from this well study was very comprehensive, 117 pages. Resolution 2020-114, be it resolved, the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby authorizes payment to XL Environmental Resources for invoice number 20078 in the amount of $18,842.93 for the verification of the potable well water quality of the Church of the Good Shepherd. This is paying the bill to do the testing and file the report and notify the EPA and whatnot.
I have a motion.
I'll move that. Councilman Ferretti?
Correct, and I'll second it.
Roll call.
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Ferretti?
Yes.
Mario Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
The next thing I was going to talk about was the Kinesi Drive properties, but I'm going to carry that to another meeting. I was supposed to report back to you this evening, so I'm going to carry that to a meeting in the future.
I think that's a good idea. I don't think this is a time to be purchasing any properties. I know that the real estate market has come to pretty much a halt right now in Ringwood. Very few properties are selling or listing, given the current circumstances, and I think we should wait till the dust settles and not be purchasing any properties at this time. So I'm glad you're going to put that off. Thank you.
Well, generally speaking, I wasn't going to go into it, but since you brought it up, generally speaking, I'm not in favor of buying properties, but because these two properties were offered to us quite some time ago, I think it was last November when Mayor Martucci was still here, and they're essentially $23,000 a piece, and they're at the gateway to the library and right in the center of anything that you may do for redevelopment. It's not that we're cavalierly thinking about buying property, it's that this could be very beneficial to the borough in the future. And but I thought, because of the times that we're in right now, maybe this might be appropriate to hold off. But this was really a carried discussion from last fall. This wasn't something that came up at this point. So I just wanted the public to know that this is something that it's just carried information. So Lakeview Avenue, we'll be applying for another DOT grant for Lakeview Avenue. Phase number 4, we're applying for a $500,000 grant. We're going to do the same thing around Erskine Lake as we did around Cupsall Lake, and we're going to do it in phases to try and get that lake drainage and road improved. The park and ride, for security reasons, we have removed the shrubs in the island by the park and ride. We can't have places where people can hide, when people are coming in and off of buses in the middle of the night. It's one of the things that the insurance company had brought up. So we curbed it, and we're going to put grass in there, and we're going to leave it open and clear so that people can see. We also had the opportunity, while it was not being utilized as much, unfortunately, to mill and pave a lot of the areas, and we will be restriping it shortly.
Is there anything we could do besides?
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you for that, Scott, because I know a lot of residents were really concerned about that. A lot of people had brought that to my attention, and I know I relayed the message, so I appreciate that.
There's a lot of there's a lot of places in town that we're cutting back, and we're like, even the library, we're lowering the bushes, and you don't want places where people can be kind of, not that we don't really have that in Ringwood, I don't want to create fear, but we want to establish a comfort level when you're walking out in the dark from some of these buildings.
So my only comment on that, Scott, was instead of doing grass, could we do a ivy or some other type of ground covering? Grass needs to be fertilized, and it also needs to be cut, which increases cost. But if we did something like an ivy, or, I mean, you're a landscaper, you probably talk better to this, but some other type of ground covering that wouldn't require weekly or monthly mowing.
Very difficult to maintain. We could do something different. There's a lot of electric in there, there's poles, there's wires, there's valves that we need for water and whatnot. A lot of that is in that island, so unfortunately, we have to keep it very basic, and we can always change it. For now, the most cost-effective thing is to have the lawn where they're cutting every week anyway. We really work hard at controlling the amount of fertilizers and whatnot we put into the soil, especially near our well. So I think it'll be fine with grass for now. We can always change that, but we're not in a position where we can do anything too intense right now. We're saving our costs for some other things, but we'll look at it going forward.
Okay.
FEMA. I'm working on the FEMA application and the costs we're incurring due to the COVID-19. There's a lot of cost, there's a lot of lost labor, there's a lot of labor being, we're doing a lot of things over and above what we normally do. So we're trying to capture all those costs because, as many of you know, we've been very successful at recovering our costs through FEMA, even though it's a relentless and continual job. Well, we're not likely to receive any of these funds until next year sometime. We have to file the application, which requires us to submit documents to justify our expenditures. Along with those documents, we have to submit each of the employee contracts, and the unions have a different pay rate, so we have to submit those different pay structures to them. We've submitted many applications to FEMA, and we want to streamline the process. They don't understand the way the manager form of government works. They don't understand the form of governments in New Jersey, so it's not always easy. And I want to short circuit the process so that we don't have 3 and 4 months discussion about authorities and who does what and who doesn't do what. So what I'd like a resolution from the council tonight is outlining our policy to compensate those employees who work above their normal hours in order to keep the municipality functioning, meet the needs of the residents, and to complete the additional work necessary to comply with the governor's order, contact tracing for people testing positive, and obviously the FEMA requirements. So this evening I have a resolution which will reaffirm our policy that the municipality pays the employees hours over and above their normal work week when necessary in accordance with the employment contracts and with the borough manager's approval. And keep in mind, if any employee that the municipality has that is working out of their normal hours is not covered by a bargaining unit, those individuals will be paid only at their regular rate. There will be no overtime rate. So that's what we've currently done. That's what we've done for years. But passing a resolution, I'll be able to just submit the resolution with FEMA along with the contracts, and it'll avoid that several-month process that Helen will thank us for, because she's helped me go through that for many, many years. So this evening, I have a resolution for you. And all of this, I think you folks got all of these today, this afternoon from Nicole. So for your consideration, Resolution 2020, be it resolved, the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood reaffirms the manager's authority under the council manager form of government pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-81, and continuing, to exercise his authority to assign employees to work hours above their normal work week. These assignments include, but are not limited to, those necessary to ensure vital municipal functions are met and the current needs of the Ringwood residents, to complete the work necessary to comply with the governor's orders related to COVID-19, and for contact tracing related to COVID-19. Such assignments are tailored to and governed by the appropriate employment or the union contract and state law and federal law. So what I'm going to do is submit this right with our contracts, and it'll avoid the whole discussion with them, who has the authority to do this. So, so with that, I'll ask for a motion.
Have a motion?
John Spear, I'll move that.
McCracken, I'll second.
Ready, I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Spear? Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Peretti?
Yes.
Matty Landis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
What resolution number?
115.
So the next item that I have to talk about is Resolution 116. For 2 years, we've talked about our stormwater management program and our Vector truck. And we're very proud of our stormwater management program. We clean all the basins more often than any other municipality, and we have a very rigorous program. And while we're doing all these things with Princeton Hydro, and we're looking at lakes, and we're looking at stormwater going into our lakes, we need a new Vector truck. This isn't a surprise to anybody on this call. I don't think it's a surprise if anybody's looked at the truck. It's 20-some years old. It leaks oil, not water, but we don't want that. The engine needs work. The blower unit for the Vector truck needs work. So we're looking at a very expensive replacement. We have currently, our loader is coming off a lease. We did a 5-year lease on that with a $1 buyout, so we're buying that out. So we'll be freeing up the $30-some thousand a year payment on that. And I would like to buy this truck, because if we don't, we're not going to be able to keep up with our stormwater management, and we're really not going to be doing the lakes any justice. We've come too far to let them slip at this point. I'd like to finance this over 7 years, even though the truck that we have now is a 20-year purchase. Typically, we used to do these things over a 20-year loan where you paid for it over. I'd rather get it over and done with a lease. The interest rate is much less, and we end up having 13 years or 14 years of payment-free time where we can capture some money to maybe pay for the next one when the next manager is here. So for your consideration this evening, and I know the Finance Committee has talked about this, but I'll offer a resolution, whereas a competitively bid contract was awarded to NCL Government Capital to through Sourcewell, which was former NJPA, contract number 032615-NCL, for a 7-year lease for a new Vector truck, 2100i, in the amount of $65,836 per year. That should say per year, guys. Now therefore be it resolved, the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby approves the 7-year lease for the Vector truck recommended by the Borough Manager to NCL Government Capital of Alexandria, Minnesota, 56308. Are there any questions?
Yeah, did you just say that amount was $65,000 per year for 7 years?
Correct. It's approximately $415,000 plus interest. This is a,
And negotiating this, Scott, I'm just, I know that right now sales of vehicles are down quite substantially, and I don't know when this was negotiated. Is there any opportunity to renegotiate a lower price on this?
no,
at
we've
this time?
negotiated this as best we can. I'm going to tell you that there's one in the country that we can get from this vendor. It's in Tennessee. Because of the stormwater management plan that's going on statewide, there's a demand for these items. We also have a contract with Pompton Lakes, which pays us about $20,000 a year, which will also help compensate for this. But no, this isn't like buying,
A vehicle.
I was going to say a Chevy, because I didn't want to say Ford, but, so that you don't have the same, and we're buying a demo, we're not buying a brand-new one. Yeah, I would love to get it cheaper, but unfortunately, that's not, and there's,
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're bound by competitive bid laws. We don't have the freedom that a lot of private associations have.
correct.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
I was there.
that's why I went out to this company who does the competitive bidding. I started out the resolution with whereas a competitive bid was awarded. They do all the competitive bid nationally, and we get the benefit of that.
Okay,
Sorry,
thank you.
How old is the vehicle?
20 years, and it works. It's one of the few vehicles in the Borough of Ringwood, with the exception of police cars and some of the smaller trucks, that works 9 months of the year, every day.
Oh no, that's great. Sorry, not the one we're replacing, the one that we're getting. I thought I heard that it's not new.
It's a demo. So it's
Oh, okay.
it's a demo. So it's new, but it's not used, it's only used for the demonstrator.
Okay, that makes good sense. Then I can breathe again.
Yeah, no, we're not buying a used one.
Can I have a motion?
Was not prepared for that much for a used one.
No.
Floor models are different.
So,
Can we have a motion?
Mayor's looking for a motion in case you can't hear her.
I'll move it. Ryan.
Correct, and also.
Roll call?
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty Olandis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
I actually think this is a good deal, considering,
It's probably the most used piece of equipment we have. And when the loader's paid off and the Pompton Lakes, you add it to it, that's most of the payment. So we'll take the rest out of our Clean Communities grant, or we'll take it out because we're cleaning this stormwater, and we'll do what we have to do. But
Yeah.
I think it's a good, I think it's necessary for the Borough of Ringwood. I lost my place. The last resolution that I have, I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk, Resolution 2021-19?
17.
117. This is a really simple one. Right now, we have most of our rec programs that have been suspended. We don't know whether they're going to start again. We don't know that we're going to lose the spring, whether we're going to have summer camps, what we're going to have. We've collected the money for all of these things. What I'm looking for is a resolution that if somebody requests their money back, we give it to them. And I want to give the rec director the authority to do that, but we needed a resolution for that. So, Resolution 2020-117, whereas due to coronavirus pandemic, all borough recreation programs have been postponed until further notice. Therefore, be it resolved by the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby authorizes refunds for spring registration fees if requested by the participants.
I'll make that motion.
Correct.
I'll second that. We're ready.
Roll call?
Mayor Schaefer?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Matty Olandis?
Yes.
McCracken?
Yes.
And O'Keefe?
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's an onerous job to refund. You have to do them individually.
Yeah.
So we can't do it in one lump sum. So some people are going to opt for credits, I'm sure, but I want the ability to give the money back to the folks if they want it back. Let's see, a couple more items. Curbside leaf pickup. It's become a very popular item these days. I know that everyone's starting to put their leaves out. Everyone's home raking leaves. You can see that based upon the volume of material that's at the recycling center. I have never, in all the years I've been here, seen the mountains of brush, leaves, and recyclables that are going to the recycling center because people are there ready to work in their yard or do whatever. But what I'm asking the residents to do is please be patient. The curbside pickup, we will get them. I ask you to be patient with regard to the curbside pickup because the garbage company has a reduced staff. They have a higher volume for garbage, recycling, and garden debris because everybody's home. Trust me, your leaves will get picked up. They always will, but calling here because you saw a garbage truck is not helping any of us. We're already inundated with calls on other things. Send us an email, but they are getting around. They may not be the same week. It may be the following week, but trust me, we will get them. So I would see if we could just be a little bit patient. The leaves have been there all winter. They could be there for another week.
Yeah, I think it's more the fact that they're out on the curb and might be seeming to be unsightly during, Easter holiday and whatever. I know we put some out. My husband's driving me crazy looking for leaf pickup.
Oh, he was the one.
No, he never called. He asked me to call and I wouldn't dare. But thank you for speaking to it for all the residents. The other thing is that the recycling center is open for business.
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
It's open regular hours, and
Okay.
people are really know that.
Okay, that's good to know.
So, yep. Any other questions about leaves? Okay. I think that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Sure.
I just have, yep, that was a long list, right? Our community in times of crisis always comes together, and it shows up in Ringwood in so many ways. Whether someone's helping a neighbor, or people are making masks. I can't believe the number of people that are making masks for hospitals and for other people, whether they're donating supplies or just being supportive. I'm certainly proud to manage this community, and I look forward to better times ahead because they are coming. So with that, Mayor, I just ask everybody to stay healthy, stay well, and thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clemack, attorney report?
No report, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Second general public comment.
Mayor, I still haven't received the call. I left
Yeah.
it on the whole meeting, so
So
I would assume
we'll
that
just
there are
forego.
none.
All right. Mayor and members of the council. Councilman Bolton. Councilman,
I don't have. I was sorry. I was a little slow off of mute. I just want to thank everyone who is out there working in whatever shape or form that is, whether it's as a borough employee on behalf of the town, if you're an essential worker who's making sure that your neighbors can still buy food or pick up drugs or honestly get clothes cleaned at the dry cleaner. Thank you for continuing to get out there, and for all of us who are just trying to stay at home and maintain physical distance while remaining connected. Thank you all for doing your parts and staying home. It's actually doing something, even though it feels like we are not. So hang in there. We're gonna make it, and let's just try to remember to be kind to one another.
thank you. Councilman Ferretti.
Sure, thank you. Similarly, I want to first say that my heart goes out to the residents who have passed away in our town, and I send my best to those recovering and fighting against this virus. And again, I remind everybody, keep up on your personal hygiene, keep your nails short, wash your hands, keep your distance. Don't forget, even though it's been 2 months, let's make it part of regular life. I'm also generally just proud of everybody. I'll drive around town randomly, and it's obvious that everybody's staying home and generally abiding by the rules. I'll even get the look of death by some people as I drive by, like, why are you on the road? So great, keep it up. More than anything, our first responders, doctors and nurses in town, thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing what you do. And we have a lot of teachers in town now, right? Like, all the parents. So congrats to you people. You're doing a great job. Whether you feel like you are or you're not, you're getting it done. Students too. Everybody's bending. The actual teachers have to do, mental gymnastics to get through it, I'm sure, and they are. So thank you. I know the people in my neighborhood, I don't know if all the ladies are doing this, but we go outside at 7:45 and howl like coyotes in the name of letting out some stress and in respect, or actually, I don't know, we do it really for the first responders, out of respect for the first responders and the people abiding by the stay-at-home orders. So if you want to participate, it's kind of fun. 7:45, you relieve some stress, get out, howl like a coyote, and some people play the national anthem afterwards. It's kind of a nice thing. Now we say goodnight to our neighbors before the kids go to bed, so that's nice. Other than that, I just wish everybody safety. Please keep abiding by the stay-at-home orders and be safe. That's all I have.
Thank you. Happy howling.
Yeah.
Councilwoman.
I was howling on you too.
Councilwoman Mateo Landis.
Thanks, Mayor Schaefer. Again, basically what Ryan said. Thanks to everybody working so hard on the front lines during this pandemic. Special thank you to our borough employees who are working so tirelessly during this difficult time. To anybody who has had the heartbreak of losing a family member or a friend or a colleague, my thoughts and prayers are with you. To our residents who are sick, please stay strong, get better. To our 2 residents that we've lost, just sending love and support to their families. And to our community members, just continue to follow all guidelines developed. They're in place to keep us and our families safe. And we'll definitely get through this stronger and better. So, thank you to everybody on the front lines that are working so hard. And thank you to everybody who's staying home and doing exactly what they should be doing too, to help protect the people on the front lines.
Thank you. Councilwoman O'Keefe?
Yeah, I think Councilwoman Landis summed that up very nicely, so I concur with everything she just said. I'd also like to talk about Cups or Cares, COVID-19. Cups or Cares is doing a fundraiser, and this Wednesday, everybody has an opportunity to participate through Maggie's Takeout Dine to donate. You can get chicken parmesan dinner for 2 for $35 or dinner for 4 for $50. And then there will be a donation to Cups or Cares, which is to support frontline workers. I'd also like to give a shout out to the Passaic County Sheriff's Office for the great updates and keeping us all informed about testing when it's available. I know it was closed for inclement weather this week, but I think testing is one of our ways back to normalcy. Also, I know that I give a shout out to President Steve Sweeney and Linda Greenstein for extending the Family Leave Act to help. I think the law was 72374 that was just expanded to include leave for employees who need to stay home and take care of sick members during this epidemic. And I know that something's been proposed to help small businesses that I'd like us to keep an eye on for helping them with maybe any small businesses not having to pay rent during this turbulent time if they're unable to. So I think the county, the state, everybody's really stepping up to the plate. And I thank everyone for all their efforts, especially those on the front lines, all our emergency people in town, and especially the nurses and the doctors and the EMTs. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman McCracken.
Yes, from what I understand, Ringwood has the lowest amount of COVID-19 cases in all of Passaic County, so I just highly encourage everyone to keep on doing what you've been doing. Please stay home, stay safe, and God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Spear.
No comments, Madam Mayor.
Again, everyone, please stay home, stay safe, and if you must go out, please stay 6 feet apart and wear a mask and gloves. In this time of crisis, it doesn't matter what your political preference is. What matters is that we are, as a Ringwood community, we stick together to overcome whatever is required to take back our wonderful community from this terrifying virus and to live our lives once again. Thank you. Can I please have a motion to adjourn?
I can
So
only take that
moved.
motion.
Second?
Jamie, I'll second.
Mike and Jamie.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Schaefer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Spear,
Yes.
Council Members Bolton,
Yes.
Peretti,
Yes.
Matty Olandis,
Yes.
McCracken,
Yes.
and O'Keefe.
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Be safe.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Be safe.